This week for main lesson, I have kind of a hands-on activity for you. So we won't have as much work to do in our main lesson book, but we're going to do a little activity instead. So first of all, I want us to remember back to when we were reading about Noah and the ark. And the interesting thing about the ark is that Yahweh told Noah exactly how to build it, and he gave him the measurements of the ark in cubits. I'm going to read to you the passage right from the Bible that says exactly what he said to Noah. And Yahweh said to Noah, "The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and outside with pitch. And this is how you shall make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. You shall make a window for the ark, and you shall finish it to a cubit from above, and set the door of the ark in its side. You shall make it with lower, second, and third decks." So he told him exactly how big to make the ark. And our project this week is to measure out how big that is. I want you guys to have an idea that you can kind of see in your mind how big that ark was. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure it twice if you can. I know it's kind of cold outside, and so we might be limited to one time, but if you can and if you have time, I'd like you to try it to measure it in two ways. One way is to measure your own cubit, so that's your own arm from your elbow to your fingertips, and using your own cubit, measure out how big that 300 cubits would be. And then the other way is to measure out the cubit in the standard cubit, which I'm trying to remember the length, but I'll give you that measurement in a minute when we talk about that part. But I want you to use the standardized cubit measure and see how big Noah's ark actually would have been. So one ark measurement would be if you were to build the ark based on your cubits, and the other one is how big it was based on Noah's cubits. So I'll keep going with this, and I'll explain a little bit more about how to do that. Lycan and I are going to show you how to get set up to do your measurements. So what you're going to need for this is two different, it can be the same, but it'd be nice if it's different. It'll just be a little bit easier. If you have some string or yarn, maybe preferably something kind of big, again, so you can see it in the snow. And I'm going to use the red one for Lycan's cubits and this darker one for the standard cubit. So what we're going to do in order to make our lives a little bit easier is we're going to measure out 10 cubits and have a string that length, and that'll make it so that we don't have to measure quite so many cubits. It's just like instead of using a 12-inch ruler to measure something really big, we might use a yardstick instead. So Lycan, let's see your cubit. And we need our whole thing, the fingertip to elbow to fingertip. So I'm going to line up to there, fingertip. So there's one, pinch that, and move down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so right there where I'm pinching, here actually you can go ahead and cut it right in between, right there. Well, you might get a little, there we go. Use your right hand, there we go. All right, so you can see that Lycan's 10 cubits, that's a lot of string, so it's gonna take 2 people to measure this out, 1 person on each end, and we'll show you that part too. Now, so this is Lycan's cubit. I'm going to do a standard cubit as well. Now the standard cubit was 1.5 feet. So if 1 foot is 12 inches, Lycan, what do you think is half a foot? What would be half of 12? Does that look like half?
It's 6.
It's 6, yeah. So half of 12 is 6. So if we add another 6 to 12, what do we have?
12.
12 plus 6 is?
18.
18. Good. So 18 inches is the standard cubit. So Lycan, let's see what your cubit, how it lines up to this. Put your elbow at the end of this. Oh my gosh, it's a lot bigger than Lycan's cubit. So this one will probably turn out quite a bit bigger. So now we'll do the same thing here. There's 18. Okay. Oh, these are terrible scissors. There we go. All right, so we have, wait. Lycan's running way out of the picture, but come back over here because we can't see. So this one ended up being way bigger. So now we're gonna take these outside. We're gonna find a big old field outside and see if we can measure the ark. Lycan and I are at the soccer fields at UAF, and we're gonna measure out 300 cubits. First, we're gonna use Lycan's red string and measure it. So I've planted my first pole here, our first pole, and Lycan is the red guys, and I've got some pink ones for me after we do Lycan's. So first, I'm gonna put the end of the string right on top of that pole, and then Lycan, you're gonna walk out to the end of the string. Stop. Okay, and now, Lycan's gonna hold still, and I'm just gonna come over here. Oops, wait, you gotta make sure that your hand stays in the right spot. So hold your hand right in front of you, but face the camera. Just like that. Now don't move your hand. I'm gonna run over ahead of you. And we're doing that so that the hand doesn't change positions. Okay, now Lycan go. Oh, good point. We have to count how many. Oh my gosh, so how many of these do we have to do? Lycan, if this is 10 cubits and we're trying to get to 300 cubits, how many do we have to measure?
30.
30, that's right. So we did, was that 1, 2, so wait. Lycan was there, so that was 1. This is 2, that's 3. Okay, so you say 3 and then I'll say 4.
3.
All right. Turn, just pivot a little bit. 4. You see, that's why we have to stand facing the same direction, okay?
4.
So there's 4. Face that way.
5.
Line up a little more like that. We're at an angle. Move over this way. Walk forward. Okay, that was 9. 10. Yeah, so we want to make sure that we get a nice straight line and that we're not kind of going all wonky.
11. 29.
30.
Woohoo!
So we'll put it right here.
Woo.
And we can see all the way back there is our original. Now let's try it with the other one. All right, we're ready to start with the bigger cubits. I'm gonna put it right up on my stick. Go ahead, Lycan.
Oops. That's hard.
Remember to face forward. Yep, that's one.
Eight. 29.
30, all right. Woo! So, come on over here and let's take a look at. Yeah. Well, that is a ginormous ark, isn't it? Maybe we should measure the width of the ark. Let's leave our standard cubits poles where they are, and we'll pick up Lycan's poles and measure 50 standard cubits side to side. Lycan and I have set the red flags about halfway between our two pink flags, and now we're gonna measure how big the ark was side to side. So the measurement we read in the Bible was 50 cubits. So Lycan, how many of these 10 cubit lengths are we going to need to do to get to 50 cubits? Yeah, all right. So you're at 1 already. Stand up. We're ready to measure here.
1.
2.
5.
All right, that's 50. Here, why don't you plant our flag? Woo! And now we can see that 50 cubits wide was about that wide. And if we can still see our flags over there, we can really get a sense of how massive that ark was. Pretty big. Now, Lycan, do you think it's a good thing that they have standard measurements? Because would the ark have been the right size if we just used your cubits?
What? No.
No, it would have been a lot smaller if we just used Lycan's cubits. So there you have it. I hope you guys are able to get outside and find a nice big field like this one. Soccer fields work really well. And I hope you get to do this activity too. I'm standing at our two flags that are 50 cubits apart, and Lycan has gone to stand by our flag. He's way over there. You can hardly see him. And my phone doesn't want to zoom in the cold, so you can just barely see him. And way over here, I've got Mr. Edwards standing to show us how far apart